Ta-da! We're here. I'm going to go ahead and start the battle music, even though I'm going to do a recap, but just to have something on in the background. It'll pick up in a second. Okay, so welcome back. We are currently in the depths of the waterways beneath Srenmore, but I feel that we probably need a little bit of a recap from last time. I feel like inadvertently a lot happened. So we picked up in Srenmore. You guys walked around a little bit, trying to figure out where to meet up with Merrick's. You walked over to the Magi Botanica. Dodie went to the Myth of Smith and talked to Smith, who enchanted her very large axe. They parted ways with Jen. Arathar, I think at some point... No, that was later. You guys walked around a little bit. Merrick's finally showed up. He was very anxious, as he always is. You guys walked back across town to go to a tavern, only for him to basically be like, I don't really know how to help you guys, but there's somebody in the below parts that has the thing and probably knows more about it. You guys went down there into the grotto beneath... Turn that down a little bit, Jesus. Into the grotto beneath Srenmore. Dodie saw that crying creature person again, and promptly saw it begin to be chased by a hooded figure. You ran after that person, realizing that Merrick's was saying, that's the person that we kind of need to talk to. After losing said creature, this hooded figure turned around, only to be recognized by Gore. This person, who is introduced to you as Oldet, promptly jumped into Gore's arms, which threw you off a little bit. And a little bit of like a very awkward reunion ensued, as Gore didn't want to engage with any of this, it seemed. You guys went back to Oldet's tavern, sat outside, vaguely talked about some things. Oldet explained that they had the thing that you guys have been searching for 20-something odd episodes, just in a bag on their person, and that they could show it to you, but that it might make all of the foliage around you go buck fucking wild. You guys sat around in very tense conversation for a little bit before Arathar and Dodie split off, and Saphael, I should say, split off to go back to the Magi Botanica to pick up some things, and for Arathar to just pop in real quick back over to the Eldest Worm Emporium for the Fanciful, to talk to Mrs. Worm, I guess I'll put, about something that he had in his bag. Don't worry about it. Dodie and Saphael picked up Dodie's axe and had a little bit of a conversation. Gore and Oldet walked around the grotto for a couple hours and saw basically nothing. Oldet managed to pry a couple pieces of information from Gore, much to Gore's chagrin. And then you all met back up for just a little bit longer of very awkward conversation before Oldet saw the creature somewhere off in the distance, ran over the table, and disappeared into the alleyways. You guys chased after Oldet, who was chasing after this creature, and eventually ended up in one of these waterways beneath the city. So now, getting into where we're at currently, you guys have just run through these different alleyways, over top buildings and underneath buildings and behind alleyways and through corners and yada yada yada, until you eventually followed Uldet through a large broken piece of cobblestone further underneath the city and landed in what is almost... It's not entirely a sewer. It's kind of set up like a sewer, but you can see the water that is rushing by is clean. It's probably the drinking water of this city, but as it rushes through these large cobblestone and metal pipes near you, you can hear the sound of the water echoing across the stone. In front of you, Uldet stands with their hands out slightly, as beyond that, this creature that apparently used to be a doppelganger stands hunched over, still sobbing, underneath what is kind of a grated skylight. Up above it, you can see where it extends past the cobblestone above you and into part of the grotto, and above that there is another grate where you can see out into the sky, where the blue is starting to turn slightly more purple and violet and orange above you. The sun, apparently somewhere beyond you, is starting to set. Up through this you can see as well, pretty easily, especially Dodie, since it was pointed out to you earlier, one of those windmill-like contraptions spinning above the second grate into the sky. You see from that a pipe has descended, and behind this creature there is a large, similar propeller underneath the water that seems to be pushing the water through the pipes. Though that is deeper within the water off to what would be you guys' left. As you stand here for a moment, you all look up past Uldet and can see this creature. The black hood on it falling off slightly, and you can see more of its kind of mutated figure. Its white face with the streaks of black as it cries black tears running down its face and its neck. Its kind of doughy, kind of almost amorphous shoulders and body that extend down into these long arms that stretch further than they should. One kind of extending out as if the hand had just kind of stretched and fallen to the floor, apparently holding a knife to its side. And the other down into a large, almost spike. Its feet as well dig into the floor, as it doesn't really end in actual appendages, but more again in these large spikes. It looks up towards all of you, still sobbing. You can hear the heavy breathing and the kind of almost murmuring sighs of the creature. And I would like all of you to roll initiative for me, please. That's the wrong one. What am I doing? Okay. All right.
Banger.
Do this. Just jumping right into combat. All right. 25 to 20.
Dirty 20.
Ooh.
22.
All right. 20 to 15.
18.
18. Oh, I forgot to roll for Saphael. Oh, he's fine. That's fine. And then we're gonna go with... And then... No, that's wrong. Jesus Christ. And then Saphael at the end. Poor guy. Alright, so coming to the top of the round, as you guys have rushed in past Uldet, behind Uldet into this kind of... It's more of like a box than a room, as to either side you can see these strips of cobblestone before it kind of dips down into a very shallow pan of water. Behind that, you can see where it dips down greatly in a large slope underneath into that propeller, and then further back into what you assume are the pipes underneath the city. So the water, you can kind of walk in and walk across, except for at the very edge over here, where this large band is, where it drops down into about probably 20 feet deep of water. But we bring us to the top of the round with Gore, as this creature is kind of still shaking and looking between all of you, large black eyes darting between all of you as it continues to sob, black tears streaming down its face.
So this is just like, it's kind of shallow water, right?
Yeah,
in front of us?
It's about like 2 feet of water, maybe.
Okay. Does it count as difficult terrain?
I'd say since it's kind of deep, to kind of move through it quickly, I'd say probably.
Okay. That's, what, 10 feet a square then?
Yes.
For difficult? Okay. Oh, I didn't click on him. Here we go.
To move through the water specifically. The side portions is just normal.
Okay, so that'd be what, 15, 25, and then 35. I think as he passes Oldet, he's gonna be like, so am I beating this thing to a pulp or what?
I mean, if just like subdue it if you want, we could probably return it if we need to, but also we could probably just kill it. I don't know.
Alright. He's gonna start wailing on this thing. Oldet for the first time hearing the crack of lightning. And his arms become coated in lightning. Let's see here. Just gonna stick with one punch for now. It's gonna be a 16.
16? Let me pull up the thing.
Go.
16 just hits.
Yes. I'm gonna go ahead and do... I'm gonna do my second punch, and then I'm gonna flurry of blows for 2 more punches. I'm just gonna roll for all of them.
All
He's
right.
gonna show off.
Good for him.
That is... Oh my god, that's 23. That's a 26. And then a 21. Okay, hold on. This is a lot of dice. Okay, I'll read these off to you. That's gonna be... Okay, that's 7 for the first. 9 for the second. 10 for the third. And then 6 for the fourth.
Okay.
All lightning damage.
Alright.
Jesus. I don't remember any of those numbers, by
Yeah,
the
let
way.
me add those up. I
7,
wrote
9,
them.
10.
It
I
was
think a total of 2.
7, 9, 10, and then
6.
6.
6, yeah.
Okay. Alright. As you run up, rushing through the water, kind of wading through it at a certain point as it laps up against your shins, you reach up to this creature. You feel it start to kind of stumble in the water, sloshing around you as you watch as its one kind of long, extended hand kind of disappears underneath the water, the knife in its hand disappearing behind it. As it stumbles back, and you just begin to wail into it. You feel the lightning crackle down your arms, kind of igniting across the lines on your skin, as you just begin to just fucking wail into it. As your fists connect with its body, you can feel the knuckles of your hand almost sink into the doughy skin of it. It's a very strange feeling. But does that conclude your turn?
Yeah, that'll be it.
That will then bring us down to Erithar. As Gore kind of steps back and readies himself again as that wailing grows louder and louder around you.
My God, Zoom almost opened on my computer.
Hello.
He is gonna move. So where we're standing right now, that's solid ground, right? It's not until where Gore is where there's the water. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. He's gonna move right there, and as his bonus action, he's gonna summon his spiritual weapon, that's silver and gold and blue nebula, right above where the doppelganger is. And as his action, I'll roll to attack for it.
All right.
Yeah, roll to hit.
Just gonna put this guy. Nope, that's not what I want.
Say 15.
Beep, beep, beep. 15 does not hit.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Then that's his turn for now.
All right. I put your little nebula on there. As you rush over off to the side, looking as the water kind of starts to continue to rush by this creature, you throw your hand up and watch the air above its head rip open and this swirling nebula appear instead. That ends your turn, which brings us then down to Dodie.
Party. You said getting into the water is difficult terrain?
Yes.
Okay. Can you explain to me how that... What? I'm sure that it's on my character sheet, so hang on just 1 second.
For difficult terrain, each square is 10 feet instead of 5 feet.
Party. Okay. So I think if I get... Okay, so... That's about as far as I can get. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So she's gonna go there. I think for the sake of range, I'm gonna attempt to throw my javelin because I haven't gotten to use that yet.
Okay.
Let's see how that goes.
All right. The
Okay.
dirt javelin.
You know? That's a dirty 20 to hit.
That hits.
Great. That's gonna be 6 points of piercing damage.
All right.
And then for my bonus action, I know it's not gonna work, but let's try Sacred Flame,
Okay.
which is a dex save.
Dex save. This one. Well, lucky for you, that's a natural 1.
Nice!
Jesus Christ.
Hang on. That's going to be... Where are you? 11 points of radiant damage.
All right. As you wade down into the water and start kind of swinging your feet through the dense resistance, you make your way over pretty far before you feel the creature start to move again in the water, instead just stopping for a moment to reach back for your javelin, kind of look at it for a second like, I don't know, and then just chuck it. It flies right past Gore. Gore, you feel it whoosh past your head as it slams into the creature's shoulder with a really weird, like, sound.
Yeah.
As it starts to screech up into the air for a moment, sobbing louder and louder as it reaches up with its strange extended arm as it kind of slops over its shoulder and pulls the javelin from itself. You then reach back, kind of looking down at your hands, being like, okay, let's try this, and extending your hand out. For once, as the creature is distracted from pulling the javelin from itself, you watch as that one bit of blue and gold flame just ignites across the back of its neck as it screeches out again. Does that end your turn?
I think so.
All right. Well, that then brings us down to the creature's turn. So it... Let's see. I think first it is going to try to attack you, Dodie, I think. Yes, it is going to move right here. I think, yes. And as you watch as it starts to wade through the water as well, its hand that slopped over its shoulder comes back, and as the doughy kind of skin of it starts to stretch back into place, the hand fingers connecting into a spike itself, as it leans back and then thrusts its arm out to you. You watch as it stretch and harpoons directly towards you.
Ouch.
That is a 17 to hit.
17 hits.
And I need to... I'm going to go ahead and roll for damage for that one.
Sure.
You take 18 points of piercing damage. As the harpoon of an arm extends out towards you, flashing in front of you in an instant, and pierces directly into your ribcage.
Thus.
You are also now grappled as you feel the spike extend out through the back of your ribcage as well, as you are stuck on its harpoon.
Makes sense.
And on your turn, you can make a strength check to attempt to escape. But
Cool.
After that, arm still extending out past you, Gore, you watch as it turns towards you, its legs seeming to stretch and grow as it seems to almost extend up into your height. As it's then going to reach out with its other spiked arm as you watch it start to stretch and grow as well, as it begins to attempt to wrap around your neck. I'm going to need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
While I make an attack roll.
Okay.
That was a natural 20.
Oh, well.
What was your saving throw, though?
It was an 18.
Okay. So you will take half damage on this one as well. So what am I supposed
So I just take normal damage?
Yeah, half the double.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank goodness.
You take 22 points of
Yikes.
psychic damage as the arm wraps around your neck and pulls you towards it, and you just see into the inky blacks of its eye, and flashes of complete darkness start to surround you. You pull back slightly again, still kind of being able to use your vision to look past it slightly out of your periphery so that you're not fully encompassed within just the absolute nothingness in front of you. That is going to end its turn. And that will bring us down to Oldet, actually. So, as this happens, Oldet... What is Oldet going to do? Jesus Christ. Yes. Oldet's going to do this. How many? 5, 10? Yeah, totally fine. Oldet rushes up as this harpoon goes out and completely skewers Dodie for a second, and as Gore is pulled in towards this creature's face. You all hear more so than see, except for probably Erithar. As Oldet stomps one foot down into the water and kind of pulls up against it as this large, kind of almost hand of water comes out with it. Oldet is then going to spend 2 key points really quick. And is going to attempt. So the creature needs to make a saving throw, which it does not make. Does make? Oh, just barely does not make. It just barely does not make its dex saving throw as this whip of water reaches out and does basically the same thing that it's just done to Gore, to the creature, as the whip of water slaps against its skin and wraps around its neck and pulls the creature closer to Oldet and away from Gore. Up over here. Dodie, you are slightly pulled with it a step closer to Oldet. And it takes... Jesus Christ. Where are my d10s?
Just monk things.
15, 16. It takes 18 points of bludgeoning damage. Jesus Christ, math. And what can... And for a bonus action, Oldet is going to just punch the thing, I think. Just unarmed strike, which just barely hits as well, and does an additional 6 points of damage. Alright, I have to keep up with all the numbers. So as Oldet pulls this creature to it with this whip of water, you hear it start to screech out again. Gore, the arm around your neck relinquishes and you can breathe again for a moment as Oldet pulls this creature to it and then just kind of full sucker punches it directly into the stomach as it starts to double over slightly. That is going to end Oldet's turn, which brings us down to Saphiel. Jesus Christ. Why are they all in a row? Where is Saphiel's character sheet? Come back. Why did you close? As... Wow. Yeah, we're just gonna go with this one because it works. Saphiel is gonna move this way. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. There we go. So you can see it. And attempt to cast Bane on it. Which is... What am I... Oh, no, it has to make a saving throw. Duh. There's so many dice in my tray right now. Which it does not save. So, from now on...
Hold it, fire.
It must... Okay. Remind me, every time it makes an attack or a saving throw, it has to subtract a d4 from its roll.
Can we just scream Bane, 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 Bane
Yes.
at you?
Bane.
Absolutely.
Bane.
Yeah. Okay. So it has to do that. I think it does something else, but I'll come back to it. And then he's just gonna also cast Vicious Mockery at it as he summons his weapon again, the purple light encapsulating into this strange crystalline violin as he pulls the strings, as he pulls the bow across the strings with an awful eerie screeching sound and then goes, "That's what you sound like!" And it has to make a saving throw. Yeah. It fails that too. Jesus Christ, there's so many dice. And it takes 4 points of psychic damage. Alright. And that is going to end Saphael's turn, which brings us back up to Gore's turn at the top. This creature has just been pulled away from you, is directly in front of Oldet, and still has its arm lodged into Dodie's ribcage.
I think. Oh, hold on. I forgot to mark off a key point. Okay. This has got to work eventually. He's going to take a step closer and he's going to try and hit it with Stunning Strike, which I think it has to hit in order for me to use.
Okay.
Yeah, when you hit with a melee, okay. So I will roll to hit. That is a 19.
19 hits.
And then he has to make a Constitution, saving throw.
That is a 10.
Oh my god, it failed! He's stunned until the end of his next turn.
All right.
Or until the end of my next turn.
Okay. As you rush up to it again, pushing through the water, up behind it, you can see where its doughy shoulder blades are pulling back as if it's going to lunge forward again, as you just slam your fist directly into the base of its spine, into the small of its back. You feel your fist collide with something bony underneath all that doughy flesh, and its back arches and it freezes for a moment as it becomes stunned.
I like to think it's like a defibrillator.
Yeah.
The lightning. And then he's gonna offhand. Well, actually, he can go ham because he's stunned. Okay, he's gonna do an offhand punch, and then as his bonus action, he's gonna use Hungry Jaws.
Okay.
He's gonna bite it. That is a 24 for the punch. Oh my god. And then a dirty 20 for the bite.
Okay.
Did I roll damage for the first punch?
No.
Okay. Let me... I gotta make sure it does damage too. For the Stunning Strike. When you hit the next melee you spend to make the target stunned until the next... Okay, so I think it still does damage, because it just says when the attack hits, you can make them stun. That is... Oh, oof. That's 5 points for the first.
Okay.
Ooh, that one's good. 6, 10 for the second. And I think it's a D6. Oh, mama. That is... And then 9 piercing for the last one. It's not thunder.
Alright.
I get... you make a bike attack. Gain 3 temporary hit points.
I do need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Shit. Well, you know, I can hit, but that's gonna be a 2.
Alright.
Oh boy.
You take 10 psychic damage as your jaw bites into the creature, and you can feel something wash over you in that moment.
Okay.
Anything else?
Okay. That'll be it.
All right. That then brings us down to Erithar.
Okay, cool. He is gonna get a couple feet closer. 1 square equals 10 feet. You said, right?
Within the water, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, he's gonna get right there.
Okay.
Actually, I can move one more up against it. He's gonna get right there. Did we say moving the spiritual weapon was a bonus or a bonus action or like a true action?
Bonus action.
Bonus action.
Yeah. To summon it, I think, is an
As his
action,
bo-
but to move it is a bonus action, I believe.
Okay. For this, hold on, I forgot to check the range of the. Oh my god. Sorry. As his action, he'll reach over and touch Gore on the shoulder, and I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds at 2nd level. And that's 16 points back to you, Gore.
Hoggers.
Yeah. Champ.
Our
and
lifesaver.
this is- Yeah, don't I know it? For his bonus action, he'll cast us fucking Sacred Flame at it, which is a dex save.
Okay.
I will. He is stunned. I think he has disadvantage.
Also, Bane.
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 Well, that's going to be a 3 minus something, so... yeah, that's a 1. A dirty 1.
Amazing.
31 is my new favorite concept.
Yeah.
It's hard to do.
It is!
That's 13 points of radiant damage.
Oh, the creature automatically fails strength and dex saving throws.
Ah, good to know.
And then attack rolls have advantage.
Alright.
And then it is also incapacitated. And can't take actions or reactions.
Alright. Does that... Are you moving your, spiritual weapon?
That was my bonus action. I figured I couldn't do it at the same time unless it just. The action was Cure Wounds, and the bonus action was
Right.
the Sacred Flame.
I forgot. Thank you. Forgot
Yeah.
about the cure wounds. So that ends your turn then, unless you're moving?
I moved a little bit. I'm already good where I am.
Alright. That then brings us down to Dodie.
I don't suppose I can brandish an axe while grappled.
Well, it is your turn, so you can make a strength saving throw. It is also stunned, and I will say you have advantage on this if you want to do that first.
I would like to do that first, actually, thank you. If it doesn't have to be at the end of my turn, that would be swimming. 17.
Saves.
Great, awesome, cool.
So you reach
Does that count
down
as my
and just
action?
remove this arm, I don't know, from your person.
Does that count as my action?
I'll say that counts as your bonus action if you would like to take an action.
I love you. Yeah, she's gonna then brandish her giant ass axe and, whack it a little.
Alright.
Because I haven't gotten to use it now that it has its new shiny power on it. Yeah, it's a 26 to hit.
Yeah, that'll hit.
And that was the wrong dice. Dummy. Well, that's across the room now, so. 14
Yeah.
points of slashing damage.
Alright.
And, let's just smite it for fun.
Alright.
So that was what, 14? Which is going to be another 2. 8. For an additional 7 points of radiant damage.
Nice. As you pull this harpoon from your body, feeling the blood start to leak down your shirt and begin to drip into the water, creating a small stain of red around you, you reach back, grabbing now instead of your javelin, your trusty axe, wielding it up and bringing it down across its shoulder, slamming it into the top of its shoulder, feeling it kind of sink in underneath the weight as it almost trips over itself as it still struggles to try to move, but it just quite can't. Anything else?
Just gonna stay in range.
All right. That then ends Dodie's turn, which brings us to the creature. It cannot take any actions, but as... Here, hold on. 5, 10, 15, 20. Yeah, as literally everybody is now within range, it, without even having to, naturally does a psychic leech, so I need everyone to make a wisdom saving throw.
Makes sense.
Lovely. That's the same roll as last time.
Alright, Gore. Was it 2?
Yeah, that's a 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dodie
25.
saves.
Great.
15.
15. Just barely saves. Everybody else does
my
not
God.
save. So, hold on, let me get my d6s.
How's he supposed to dodge the psychic damage? Bro's not wise.
Everybody else,
This is one weakness.
except for Dodie and Arathar, takes 12 points of psychic damage. As the sobbing stops for a second, and you hear it suck in this like wailing, almost wailing breath as it echoes around in the water, and it all sinks into your ears, and for a moment you almost have the urge to grab your head and try to ground out the sound, as there's just this feeling of nothingness, of loneliness cascades in around you. That is then going to end its turn, which brings us down to Oldette, who is going to kick water up at Gore for a moment and looks over to you as you get splashed and look over as they just go,
Don't fucking bite it! It's sick!
and then they are going to just punch it first off. It definitely hits. And then they're going to do Flurry of Blows because they can. That one does not hit. How many do they have? Yeah.
If they're level 5, they get extra attack on top of that, which gives them 2 more.
Yes.
So it's like 4 total.
And they are going to... Where was it? Yeah, and they are going to spend another key point for this last one to... So that was 2 that hit, 1 that didn't, and then this last one, which does hit. So, first off, the creature is then catapulted back. Yes. Yeah. 10, 20. There we go. Catapulted back 20 feet, and now I have to add up all this fucking damage. Hold on. Where's my d6? Okay. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13. And then... Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. That comes out to 37 points of damage total, bringing that up to... Alright, as it gets catapulted back, as a gust of air just shoves past all of you, as it gets thrown back into the water, it is also... No, it is not prone. But it does shove it 20 feet back. And that takes up 3 more key points. And that is going... No, that's going to move forward. Up here. That is... No. That's over here. And that is going to end Oldette's turn, which then brings us down to Saphael, who is gonna...
He's gonna make fun of it again.
What is he gonna do? Oh, this is what he's gonna do. Duh. Hold on. Where am I going? 5, 10, 15, 25. Yes. And he's going to tap Gore on the shoulder and cast Long Strider. So your speed increases by 10 feet. No, 20 feet. Your speed increases by 20 feet.
That's a lot of feet that he can go.
And then he's gonna fucking cast Vicious Mockery at it again. As he pulls the... he makes another awful sound on his violin and goes, yeah! Leans over to Dodie. I don't know what I'm doing. And you're ugly! Which doesn't work this time. But that's going to end his turn and brings us back up to Gore, who now has 20 feet extra of movement.
Yeah, he's got 60 feet of free reign.
Good lord.
But he's going to use 10 of it to take him back up to it. Man. I think he's just gonna punch it twice, and then I'm gonna use patient defense for the key point, which is just gonna let me take the dodge action as a bonus action.
Okay.
The luck has run out. That's a 10.
Well,
oh my god, that's a fucking 9. Well. And then he dodges.
alright. You rush up towards it.
Oh wait! They have advantage! Because he's stunned.
He is.
Okay. So that's the 12.
No such luck.
Okay, he dodges.
You rush up to this creature who has now been pushed back in the water, though it's still stunned somewhat as it pulls itself together for a moment. You go out to slam your fist into its doughy body again as it just kind of drops down to one knee, and you completely whiff over its head. As you pull back, it looks up again at you with those large dark eyes as it just stares into you, and you just pull back into a defensive position. That ends your turn, so it does get to roll to see if it becomes unstunned, yes?
I think it's just unstunned.
It is?
It says it lasts until the end of my next turn, so
Okay.
I think it's just unstunned now.
Cool. So then that brings
Unfortunately for
us
Gore.
down to Erithar as the stun wears off and it pulls itself back up, now stretching its doughy body again back up to its full height. Erithar.
He's gonna stay where he is for now and cast Sacred Flame, which is a dex save, right? Yeah.
8.
All right. That does not save. That's 13 points of radiant damage.
Alright.
And then for the action, he's right next to the spiritual weapon again. I would like to roll for that, and no longer advantage, right, because he's unstunned.
Yes.
That is a natural 20. So
Okay.
let me see. Jesus Christ. That's 6 doubled is 12 points. 12 more points of radiant damage.
Okay. As you kind of steady yourself in the water, looking back up to the swirling nebula over its head, casting it down as it begins to shoot these little meteors of pure, like, mercury into its skin as it just cascades across the back of this creature as it screeches out into the air. As well casting a bit of iridescent flame across its front, burning into its skin as it sizzles and begins to bubble slightly. It is not looking good. You said you're not moving at all, so that then brings us down to Dodie, unless you want to.
No.
Which brings us to Dodie then.
He's good where he is.
All right.
Party. Dodie is going to kind of shake herself off and say, "Hey, if this thing's sick, maybe we shouldn't kill it inside of the city's drinking water." And she's going to use her action and her bonus action. No, her action and her movement to get close to it. There's not much more that she can do. Well, I mean, I guess... Can she try to grapple it? Like, try to hold it down rather than attack it?
Yeah, I'll say you can do that.
Great. Is that what? Competing strength throws?
Yes.
Bane?
It does have Bane still. Bane. Alright.
17?
14.
Yeah, she's gonna try to pin it to, like, the wall of the reservoir.
Okay.
I think that's the most sensible move.
Okay. You rush up, screaming this out to your party members as you kind of pass by Oldette, who has their claws in their hair at this point, has this look of just like, yeah, probably. As you rush by, slam it against the wall behind you and hold on to its arms, attempting to pin it as much as you can against this reservoir. That ends your turn, yes?
I think so.
That then brings us to its turn.
Yeah.
Let me see real quick. Hold on. Beep, 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 beep. Where am I? Okay, so it can still take actions. It just can't move. As you slam it against the wall, it looks at you, and it is going to attempt to stab you again.
Makes sense.
That's an 18 to hit.
Yeah, it hits.
Let's see, get my dice. You take 20 points of piercing damage as its arm again pierces into your stomach as it almost skewers you. You have it grappled. It now has you grappled. And is then going to, everybody's still clumped up, it is then going to use its bonus action. I need everybody, literally everybody, to make another wisdom saving throw.
Surely this one will go better than the last one.
Surely.
You know, it went slightly better.
And
Yeah.
improvement.
Yeah, by 1 point. That is a 3.
Nice, okay. Dodie
24?
saves.
18.
18 saves. Alright, so just Gore takes...
Gore is being berated psychically right now. He doesn't like it.
He's doing his best.
He didn't see this one coming.
14 points of psychic damage this
My
time.
god.
As another wave of just pure dark energy cascades out from it, and again you have flashes of just complete black in your vision and this overwhelming sense of nothingness. It can't move. That is going to end its turn, which then brings us down to Oldette, who is going to take a step backwards up onto the ledge this way. And then, yeah. Yes. And then is going to yell out to you, Dodie,
Try to hold on as best as you can.
You got it!
and begins to swirl some of the water up from around you as it wraps around both you and the creature. And it is going to make... it needs to make a dex saving throw, but it has disadvantage. And also Bane, which fails. As you feel the water swirl up around you, as you are almost compressed against this creature, feeling its doughy body kind of start to squish against you as you feel the blood still gushing out of your wounds, you are then pulled suddenly all the way up onto land with this creature. Up over to Oldette, who is then going to... That's the wrong one. Is then going to Flurry of Blows this thing.
You know what I bet this thing feels like? A mushy melon.
That misses.
Ew.
That also
I
misses.
believe that.
Like a spoiled cantaloupe.
And that just barely hits. Okay, so they get one additional hit on this thing. It is not looking good. Where are my d10s? As they overall do 15 points of bludgeoning damage. And as Dodie, as you feel the water kind of relinquish around you, its grip on you, you watch as Oldet swings at this creature 2 times, and as it kind of almost starts to fold in on itself, they miss before connecting one solid furry fist directly into the side of its head as you watch its temple split open, and this sickly looking, almost like oxidized blood begin to pool out of its temple. It looks like absolute garbage right now and can barely hold itself up. That then brings us to Saphael's turn, who is going to take his movement. That's 10, 20, 25, 30 to get out of the water. And cast... No, you know what he's going to do is he's going to get his grub out and a small bottle that he has, and squeeze the grub into the bottle to make a healing potion. And that is going to be his turn as he readies itself off to the side as he he's going to rush up this way as far as he can, up next to Dodie with a healing potion, just ready. That is going to end his turn and bring us back then to Gore.
Gore's had enough. Damn, this is probably not a smart idea. Whatever. He's gonna punch it 4 times.
All right.
Okay. Let's see here. Fuck that dice.
Fuck it.
That is 23. That's another 23. Oh, that one's a 10. And then that one is an 18.
Yep.
I think that's 3 of them hit, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's gonna be... Oh, where'd it go? It's gonna be 8 for the first one.
Okay.
8 for the second one. Oh my god. And then 12 for the third one.
Yeah.
That's like, what, 28?
How would you like to either kill this thing or completely rock its shit and knock it out? Either way.
Oh, man. So I think he's just kind of sitting there in the water. He's grabbing his head, and he stabilizes himself, and he sprints, like literally the water is parting in his wake of how fast he is running. He's parting the sea, you know? Not the Moses reference. And then he's gonna jump and clock him with his right fist, and then probably deck him in the stomach with his left fist, and then bring his skull down onto his knee. It's gonna be non-lethal.
Okay.
Now everybody wanted to see him kill something, but
It is what it is. You rush up through the water, like you said, it parting in front of you as you leap up over the ledge into the air as you look down to see where where Dodie is separating herself from the harpoon in her stomach as you bring your fist down across its face. Just full, like, slow-mo style knock a tooth out type thing as lightning sparks across your knuckles, and as you send it launched into the ground, you pull your other fist up directly into its stomach or across it, and then pull it down onto your knee as you feel its jaw crack to the side, and you watch as all consciousness leaves its body and it slumps to the ground, though you can still see the ever so slight rise and fall of its very broken ribcage. As it slumps to the ground with just this awful noise, its limbs start to retreat back to their normal shape, still kind of spiked and doughy in places, but no longer 12 feet long. As it lays there, its color starts to dim as well, now going from this stark white into more of this kind of dusty gray color as the streaming of black down its face stops and it smears against the stone. We are all now out of combat, so I will change the music as the rest of you begin to pull yourself, I'm assuming, from the water. And Dodie, as you pull the harpoon from your body, you turn around, and Saphael is standing there with a healing potion and a grub in his hand. So, I believe we will do...
Aerithar will approach Gore again and touch his shoulder again and cast Cure Wounds once more.
Yeah, Gore, after doing that, takes a seat on the wall. Is very heavily breathing.
Oldet immediately walks up, reaching into one of their pockets and pulling out some rope and immediately starting to bind the creature's limbs.
He touches your shoulder, Gore, and you get 20 points back.
Dope. Thanks, Aerithar.
This is dramatic music. We're not gonna do that one. We're gonna go back to this one. Because, jeez, that was very dramatic. Okay, as the adrenaline starts to wear off and the rushing of the water comes back into view, as Oldet continues to drag this creature further and further away from the water as they bind its limbs, they look up to the rest of you as you all kind of get yourselves together as Saphael puts the grub back on his shoulder and de-summons, I guess, his violin as it just kind of disappears into light in his chest. Oldet looks up to the rest of you, kind of just heavily breathing and looking around.
Well, it's not dead yet. So we should probably figure out what to do with it.
Where'd you say we have to take this thing again?
Well, I was gonna take it back to the Cromthiers, but you guys also said something about mob connections, so I don't know if you have like a different mob that you're more partial to, or...
I'm trying to remember how to spell it so I can look it up in my notes.
I don't know about the word partial, we just have a connection there.
Because technically this thing was, I guess, working for the Cromthiers.
I mean, do we want to stay neutral in the mob war, or do we want to drop it off with the Whisper Veils?
They did do us a favor,
They've done us.
but also I personally would prefer to stay neutral.
I feel like if we take something from one mob and give it to another mob, that's not going to be a good look for us.
No, probably not.
Probably not.
Can I approach the creature?
Mm-hmm.
Can I do like a medicine check to see, like, my question specifically is if I can use lesser restoration to heal the thing?
Yeah, do a medicine check. As you do so, no, I won't say do a perception check because they're doing it very obviously. Oldet pulls out a embroidered rag almost and dips it into the water and immediately starts wiping any of its blood off of their fur. And then looks up and hands it out to whoever's closest.
Oh, it stabbed me real good.
It did. Yeah.
Okay. Not right. Okay. That's a 19. Medicine check.
You hand the rag off to Gore or Erithar, I'm assuming, as you kneel down to where Oldet and this creature are and begin to look it over. You said 19?
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. You've never seen a doppelganger before that you're aware of, at least. As it's kind of shifted somewhat back into its natural state now that it's unconscious, you do see that the small, dark, beady eyes have morphed into this larger feature, its face becoming slightly less humanoid, though it still looks warped in a certain way. It does have that sickly paleness to it that you can even tell, for a creature that you've never seen before, isn't quite correct. Where it's bleeding from its various wounds, you can see that its skin seems thinner and just doesn't appear right, as if it started to decompose while it was still alive. You aren't familiar with this type of sickness. You've seen lesser restoration used on other things, and you know for certain sicknesses and for curses and poisons and things like that, some type of restoration can be used, but as you look this thing over, it almost appears more like a mutation than it does an illness, and you're not entirely sure how well it would work. You just simply don't have any experience with this.
Party. Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Yes, I think we should just take it back to whoever can deal with it. And if that's the people it came from, then that's smart.
I'm not entirely sure what they'll do with it once they have it, but they apparently haven't been in control of what it's been doing for a while, so maybe they'll be pleased to know at least where it is. But the only way that I really know how to take it back would be up to the front gates that we walked past earlier today.
And motions to Gore.
He kind of stands up. All right, then that's where we go. He's gonna walk over to the doppelganger.
Mm-hmm.
I can carry it.
Okay, well, we should probably get going then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd prefer that this fucking thing didn't wake up.
Yeah.
And they
He's
begin to lead the way out.
I feel like he places it over his shoulders.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like it's got its wrists and its ankles tied together, so it's kind of like a scarf or like a shawl as you kind of hold it up and begin to walk out through the hole in the wall and up back into the alleyways, and then further back into town. As you do so, you pass by another one of those grated skylights and can see the sky above you is getting darker even still. The first little signs of nightfall are becoming more apparent as the sun, obviously somewhere outside of the grotto, is setting. It doesn't take you guys very long to walk up through the alleyways, kind of staying, I'm assuming, out of sight of the main crowds as best as you can, and over to where the large gated entrance of this Kromthir building apparently is. Are you guys doing stealth checks to walk through the city with the body, or are we just kind of going for it?
A good idea.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
$14.
14?
6.
Okay.
I also wanted to ask, as we're walking, I know Gore's holding it. Verikathar could also make a medicine check and look over it just as they're going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gore, what was your...
17.
17. All right. Well, by process of elimination, Arathar's roll was going to cancel out because everybody else rolled above a 16. So you guys begin to move through the city. Arathar, you kind of keeping towards the middle of the pack and creeping up behind Gore and kind of starting to take a look over this creature. You guys aren't walking for too terribly long, though it does take a little bit of a slower pace as you get closer and closer to where the main roads are. Eventually, Oldet starts to lead you off to the side of one of these main roads and kind of into the shadow within the shadow that exists in this underground space. And Dodi and Arathar and Saphael, for the first time, are now seeing the outline of this strangely large building down here in this undersection of the city. It kind of stands out from the rest of the... is the music being stupid? Sorry, there we go. Kind of stands out from the rest of this section of the city. Its dark stone appears more simple and sturdy compared to the rest of the buildings that kind of branch out from each other and almost seem to grow in different directions. Instead, there's this large, almost castle-like wall out front with this large wrought iron gate protecting this small courtyard directly in front of this large building. Though there doesn't appear to be anybody outside, or anybody on the wall, or anybody in the courtyard. In fact, as you start to look around, there doesn't appear to be anybody on the street in its entirety of this section of the city. Arathar, what was that roll?
15.
Okay. Are you looking for anything specific?
Just if anything, I don't know. I know he's not super knowledgeable in medicine, but just anything, specifically maybe arcane about it, or if it's more natural.
Okay. You take a couple more glances over it in these last couple moments. Sorry, say your roll one more time for me, sorry.
15. You're
15.
good.
Looking over it, it's hard to say. The mutation of this thing doesn't appear to be something, as far as you know, though you don't have much experience with doppelgangers, doesn't seem to be something that just is like a common cold that you can pick up if you're a doppelganger. This seems quite intense, and its origin doesn't seem entirely commonplace to you. You kind of get the same thing that Dodi get with the strangeness of the mutation, as if the body itself is not fully decomposing, but starting to get those first warning signs, even though it's still alive. And you as well notice, though you're not entirely sure what color doppelganger blood is, the color that it is currently does not seem normal. There's nothing currently arcane about the creature. Like, you're not getting any, like, big, like, radio signals off of it, like, hey, there's a spell in me. But this doesn't seem like something that would just happen without something arcane. I'll give you that, at least. Not entirely sure what's going on, but it's not the doppelganger flu, you know what I mean?
Doppelganger Flu is a good band name.
Just about to say that.
Yes. I got you. Thank you.
Yep. You guys stall for a moment in this last alleyway before stepping out into the street in front of this gate in this building as Oldet kind of turns back and is like,
So, I'm not entirely sure how much we want to, like, actually talk to them, because not the best reputation, but I have a feeling leaving it outside the gate also isn't, like, the best idea. Feel like maybe getting it inside the gate will be best.
I could just huck it over.
I mean, I won't say no to that. I don't know about everybody else's opinions.
We are leaving right after this.
I'll walk it up.
I just
as you start to turn, Oldet does reach up and shove what looks to be like a couple berries into the creature's mouth as you walk away. Dodie, do you give them that look?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a little bit so they, will survive smackdown on the other side.
Got it.
As Gora, you begin to walk across the street, looking either way, kind of taking the creature off of your back, and kind of holding them on your shoulder. Could you make a strength check to chuck him over the top of this gate?
Finally. That's a 22.
22. The rest of you watch from this alleyway as Gore casually walks across the street, takes one look around, and then just shot puts this creature over the top of this wrought iron gate, barely cresting over the spikes at the top, not fully impaling it on the gate as it crests over the other side and slams down onto the cobblestone on the opposite side. Gore, you stop for a moment and then see its chest expand and go, okay, and turn around and walk back.
Does anybody want to leave a note, or are we headed out of here?
No.
I feel like they're kind of going to get the message.
Gotcha.
You guys turn and see one of the lights in the building come on from the sound as Oldet's like,
We should probably get out of here.
Yeah.
as you turn and make your way back down the main road and up towards the front of the grotto, I'm assuming. So, do we want to take an early break, or do we want to go a little bit further before break?
I'm fine either way, whatever you think is best.
Yeah, I ate
mean, if
before, so
we're-
I'm not even hungry or anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go a little
But
bit
if we
longer.
wanted to
then.
take a break, I would also be down.
Let's go just a little bit longer. It was a nice stopping point, so I wanted to ask in case anybody had any pressing business. But you guys continue up out of the depths of the grotto and back towards where the tavern was that Oldet was staying at, and towards the front where the hot dog stand is. The very important hot dog stand. As you do so, Saphael kind of leans over to you, Dodie. So I'm assuming that we're leaving.
Right, hold on. She's gonna dig the sending stone out of her pocket. I think I've been holding it for an hour now.
I believe that you probably have.
I'm gonna hold it. Just picture Jen real hard in her mind.
She pops up in one of those 1980s style photo shoots with the lasers in the background where she's just fully visualized.
Hi, sorry. I know you just split. Is there any way your folks could help us with a teleportation ritual to Port Pay? Thanks, Dodie.
You stop, opening your eyes again, the picture of Jen disappearing from your mind. As there's a slight pause before you hear, "Oh my god, hey! Let me think. I think we've got transportation close. Port Pay's technically not our territory, but we could get you probably pretty close. I'm at the road mill, by the way."
I don't suppose I can use this thing again. She looks at her.
Not until after sunset. The next
Great.
Today or the next day. One of those.
First of all, I really appreciate her being considerate because she at least told me her location. She's at the road mill. No idea where that is. Oldette, do you have any clue?
I think it's eastern side of the city.
That works for me. She said she can get us close, not to the actual city itself, but I'm fine with close.
Better than going the whole way by boat or by cart. So
Exactly. All right. Let's do it then.
Could I get a hot dog on our way out? Would just like
Yes.
to take a quick stop at the hot dog stand.
Yes. Go.
Sweet. And he starts to rush off. As the
She's
rest
watching him. Just.
The rest of you continue up the street, kind of slowly passing Saphael as he stops in front of the hot dog man to strike up a small bit of conversation, as the hot dog man, still looking fully at him, not looking at the cart, starts to make a hot dog, putting all of the ingredients on it and hands it to him as they continue to have this small bit of conversation as you pass by before Saphael runs up behind you and catches up. As you do so and make your way up towards the kind of like front entrance of the grotto, you see Oldette start to put their cloak back on, pulling the hood up and kind of closing it around them as you walk out into the very low light of the setting sun above Srenmore. Let me scroll back down in my notes. Making your way back out into the city is a little bit jarring, again, going from underneath it to on top. The sunlight really enhances all of the strange qualities of Srenmore. As you continue forward, you're again met with very large crowds of people who are now starting to get their party on as the sun starts to set and it becomes nighttime in this strange, dense city. Somewhere off in the distance, you can see a couple early fireworks going off. Apparently somebody's too eager and impatient to let it fully become night before they start setting off these colorful explosions. But you continue on forward. You remember, Dodie especially, from your travels earlier, that you had to travel east to get towards the Magi Botanica. So you're assuming that if you just travel past that, you'll end up on the eastern side of the city. So you start to walk in that direction. If I could, though, get either an investigation check or I'd say survival check from somebody in the party who wants to try to lead and look out for any indication of what the road mill might possibly be.
I can roll survival.
Okay.
Or will be no help in either one of those. Be right back.
I can roll investigation,
Okay.
unless you just wanted one person specifically.
Both would probably be more efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah. 19 for investigation.
Okay.
Sorry.
23 survival.
Nice. You all continue through the city as it continues to get just even crazier as you walk. You pass by the strange buildings that seem to grow out of each other, passing by a couple more of those windmill-like structures now knowing the purpose of them. And as you continue on further, every once in a while, Dodie, you start to look around to see if you maybe catch sight of someone sobbing in a black cloak with pale skin and running mascara, but you don't end up seeing anything. Pleased to know that whatever that was has been dealt with. You continue on further, and it takes you guys quite a while to walk across this incredibly large city. So if there's anything that you guys would like to do while you walk, this would be the time.
As they're walking, she's gonna get a little bit closer to old Dat.
Mhm.
So, how did you fall into the business of finding that thing anyway?
Well, I was coming up this way because of the thing. And I needed to get some different, like, supplies and stuff. And this is a good place to find things. And also for What's-His-Fuck to disappear for a bit. Really
Nice.
easy to disappear in this city. But I kind of... I'm not a hunter or anything. But I kind of keep an eye out for chaos. I guess it kind of comes with the territory. You know, given like everything. So I just kind of heard about it, and then I heard that some person thought it was like some monster, and somebody thought it was like a changeling, which is so rude, honestly.
Racist.
And then somebody was talking about other stuff, and then somebody said it looked really sick, and so then I was like, it's sick, and then I ran into it, and I was like, holy shit, because then I kind of figured out what was going on. So then I was like, well, now I can't leave the city without doing something about this.
But you weren't hired by the mob.
No,
That's my real question.
no, I don't really have any mob connections.
That's good. That's good. We're about to make you one.
Are they like... Are they chill?
I mean, I don't have a lot of experience with mobs, but like, in our experience, as long as you don't fuck them over, you know? Maybe that's just our spokesperson, though.
Okay, because I asked because...
I mean, they've got goblins working for them, so I think
Oh, okay,
they're
then I'm
probably
fine.
I mean, they were fine with gore, so...
Yeah, this and that's a little different.
Eh.
But goblins were chill. Okay, it's fine. That's like neighbors.
You guys continue on walking. After a little bit longer, the sun now getting to the very edges of the horizon, now casting more of an indigo shade across the sky than an orange and light blue color. You, Dodie, start to keep an eye out for where the streets connect and trying not to get lost in this vast maze of buildings and markets and stalls and stands and carts and everything rushing by. As Erithar, you start to pay particular notice to the names of things and different signs. And between the two of you, eventually, you start to get further and further towards the eastern edge of the city. As Erithar, you see off in the distance what looks like the edge of a mill. It's got one of those windmill-type propellers on top of it, as well as what looks like a very large water wheel off to the side. It's the first thing that's looked mill-like. And Dodie, as you start to lead them up through one of the alleyways, cutting a corner off to save a little bit of time, you see in front of you where about 5 different streets all converge in front of it and create this almost asterisk intersection that's completely covered with carts and stalls of people trying to get by, as there is one individual small halfling in the middle with a sign that is pointing people in the directions to go, like directing traffic. Between the two of you, you can kind of put the pieces together and assume that's probably the closest that you're going to get to a road mill as possible, and start walking in that direction. As you start to get closer and closer to this absolute traffic jam of people, you kind of veer off to the side, Oldet pulling their cloak a little bit tighter around them as you walk up the side and can see where it almost turns into a sidewalk, up a set of stairs, and over to where this large water wheel is. You don't see any entrances or exits to the building, but this staircase seems to be the first thing that's directed you towards it. So you're assuming so far that's the best case that you have.
We'll continue up that way, I think.
Walking up the stairs, it actually gives you a decent view of the city, as now you can see where this mill kind of sits atop a small hill. It's more so atop a couple other buildings on the other side as the road slopes down, and you can see underneath the mill as there are several more buildings. But as you walk up this staircase and up onto this sidewalk, you can see ahead of you, behind the water wheel, that there is a small walkway and a doorway behind it. As you begin to approach, you see just behind this water wheel, there's like a small, like almost like planter box with a bench on the other side, and you can see a very familiar figure swinging her legs and blowing a very large bubble from her gum. And she just kind of hangs out for a second before it pops, and she begins to chew her gum again.
You start to approach her,
Mhm.
I assume.
She stands up on top of the bench as you guys approach. Hey,
Hi.
so, you guys need something?
Teleportation.
Okay.
Circle.
It's gonna be kind of weird, and you guys are chill with, like, getting, like, closer, but, like, not exactly there.
As long as we don't have to walk the entire span of the continent, we're fine.
Cool. Because Porpe, technically not our jurisdiction. We do trade over there, so we can get you guys kind of close. It's gonna be another, like, kind of weird way. We don't really do circles. You guys know, you guys went through the barrels last time. So it's gonna be kind of like that. If any of you get motion sick, I don't know, chew on some mint or something. Try not to barf in the tunnel. It's gonna be probably the best way to do that, is to not do that. Okay, let's see. Okay, that's good. We're gonna go inside in a second. Don't touch anything. Don't knock anything over. Don't talk to the weird little guy with the eye patch. It's just easier if you don't. And last thing is, because, you know, technically a business, technically not mine, technically my dad's, you guys do have to pay to use the transportation. But my cousin's pretty chill, though, so it'll probably be, like, not that much, you know. Good? Kind of starts to lean and look past you guys to where Oldet is standing. Hi.
I never did.
And Oldet's like, with you guys? Okay.
Yes.
Jumps off the bench and turns around and starts to walk through the doorway. She holds the door open for you guys as you step in, I'm assuming. And as you do so, you immediately walk into what is a very large kind of warehouse type situation. You can see where the water wheel is connected through the outside, and you can see these large, what I can only really describe as conveyor belts going in like a ton of different directions with very large crates on them. As well, you can see 2 large channels of water to either side of the doorway that seems to be churning up through the water wheel. And on a couple of those pathways, these waterways, you do see like floating barrels that bob in the water and continue by. Jen starts to walk immediately through the space and towards the back, where you can see it opens up into what looks like a hallway. Beyond that, Gore, make a perception check for me.
Yeah. 16.
16. As you guys begin to walk, as Jen spits out her piece of gum and sticks it underneath a very large wooden pole, and continues walking as she reaches into her pocket for like something. It almost looks like a little puff as she starts to like pat her nose a little bit. You're not entirely sure what that is. Dodie, you can tell that she's literally powdering her face as she walks, and then retouches her lipstick. As you continue, Gore, you look off to the side and can see peeking up from behind one of the conveyor belts is this itty-bitty little goblin man with one patch of circular hair like pointed right off the top of his head, with a fluorescent yellow eye patch just staring at you.
Oh my god. Do you want...
You just notice that.
Okay.
It's just important for you to know.
I don't have to recognize this tiny goblin, do I?
Not at all. But he is staring you down.
I think you mean he's staring him down.
Yeah, sorry. You continue walking as the goblin disappears behind the conveyor belt, and you start to get this like sinking feeling of, I can't see him anymore and I don't know where he went. But you continue on further. Jen leads you into the hallway and then down a set of stairs into what is almost a different landing space. You can see there are a couple more halflings scattered about, going over what seems to be a large stack of parchments. And as they look up, Jen kind of waves them off, and they just immediately go back to what they were doing, completely disregarding your group as they pass by. You travel through a couple more doorways before eventually stopping in front of what looks to just be a completely plain wall. As Jen reaches over, grabs one of the wooden boards on the wall, and just lifts it slightly, as the entire wall then starts to in place and open up, swinging to the side into what looks to be more of a cavern than a building. She kind of motions. Okay. Go wait in there for a second. I'm gonna go grab my cousin.
Okay.
Okay.
You guys step through as the wall kind of swings back into place. And you are now standing in what is almost like a cave-like structure, very similar to the last time you guys ended up in a mob structure with a large crevice in the middle of the foothills and a bunch of barrels and go-karts and things. But instead of now not being filled with barrels, is instead filled with probably the most crates you've ever seen in your entire life. Floor to ceiling, probably like 30-foot ceiling type walls, just floor to ceiling filled with crates in this huge pile in front of you. As well on the wall there are a couple sconces, and you don't see any go-karts, but you do see what looks like a pulley system that kind of descends through the ceiling as a crane goes over and picks up one of the crates and then disappears into a hole in the wall. You all just kind of stand there for a moment. After about a minute or so, you hear the wall behind you swing open slightly as Jen walks back in with another figure. Now you see Jen enter, long ponytail still swinging behind her, as this slightly shorter individual walks in behind her. This person stands a little bit shorter than Jen, with short cropped black bob and really dramatic eyeliner, as this gnomish girl, you're guessing, walks in, kind of talking to Jen in a language that none of you really understand. She stops, and you can see where her long black skirt kind of swishes against the ground as she looks up towards the rest of you as Jen motions out to your group. Okay, so this is my cousin. She kind of runs this level of the road mill. So she knows which one of those, points over to the fucking ginormous amount of crates. She knows which one of those has a thing in it. So, once you guys pay or whatever, she'll take you over. You will have to climb up the boxes. But then you can go through the crate, and it should pop you out pretty close to Port Paith. I don't remember how close. As she turns, and the cousin, who you still have not gotten a name for, steps forward. Yeah. So, I don't know any of you, but if Jen trusts... You're going by Jen? Yeah, if Jen trusts you, then it's probably fine. You will have to cough up some dough, though. She kind of just extends her hand.
Gore gestures over to Arathar.
What's a gold in her hand?
No. Oh.
What?
You have his money.
You have all the money. Don't insult her.
I'm saying you go first. Yeah, he holds the bag open, or gives the bag to Gore.
Gore reaches out 20 gold and pops it in her hand.
Oh, I like you. Okay, come on. As she immediately pockets all of it, and immediately starts to jump from box to box up the stack. As she begins to move, Jen calls out, "Okay, you guys stay safe. Also, call me if you need anything, and try not to die. And have fun, maybe? I don't know if this is a fun adventure. I'm gonna be here for a while, though, so... Bye.
Love you.
Bye.
Later, Jen.
As you begin to follow her cousin, still don't have her name, up these stacks of boxes. Eventually, you get up nearly 2/3 the way up the stack of boxes as this gnomish woman begins to walk around the back of it, kind of teetering off the side of it, balancing as you walk around towards the back. You can see where hidden behind this giant stack of crates is a ginormous crate, about 20 by 40 feet, as she squats down and huffs and lifts up the lid of this crate as you just see pure blackness beneath it. Try not to barf in my crate.
Can you give me an idea of where exactly it's going to let out, and or is anybody going to crossbow us on sight the second the lid is opened?
No, nobody's out there right now. We haven't taken any trading stuff out there this month. You will pop out in the woods.
Hey,
There will be a treehouse.
sounds good.
Don't go in the attic of the treehouse, or you will be hit with a saw.
Okay, good to know. Thank you for the advice.
Yeah. You'll be about 2 days from the port if you're walking.
Okay.
But that's better than the 7 days it takes to walk from here.
Yeah.
This is really heavy. Could you guys, like, go ahead and get in there?
Get in the box.
Yep.
Yeah, look at the box.
You all rush forward, looking down into just the absolute abyss below you before you just kind of have to jump in. As you do so, as you jump into the darkness, as it completely overtakes you, as if just suddenly walking into complete shadow, there's this sudden feeling of plummeting before eventually you start to tumble ass over tea kettle before somewhere in the darkness you hit against a smooth surface and then begin to like water slide type beat just down in circles into something.
Flushed away.
After about 3 minutes of just tumbling in pure nothingness, one by one you literally roll out onto a wooden surface. Just if I could get everyone to make dexterity saving throws to not dominoes into each other.
Oh no.
15.
15?
Yep.
11.
11?
A dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Alright, that's so funny. Gore, you managed to tumble out first, standing up as Erithar tumbles in behind you, skidding to a halt as you're at your feet, but not fully crashing into your knees. After that, you watch as Old Det just skids to a halt, like Superman style, on their stomach, as you start to hear thudding from behind that, as Dodie and, surprisingly, Saphael, you both tumble out at the same time, pretzeled up together into one big bunch as you like seem to fall over each other and land face first directly next to each other onto the wooden floor.
I'm glad if I had to hit anybody, it was you.
I think you elbowed me in the stomach.
I think you need me in the ribs.
Then I guess we're even. You both stand up and take a look around and see, as you turn slightly, that there is the other side of this 20 by 40 inch feet crate just sat in the middle of what looks to be just a forest. There's a small wooden platform around the crate that you've landed out on, but beyond that, you are just in the middle of some random fucking forest. By this point, the sun has set, especially now that you are farther kind of within nature and not in a city any longer, as the sounds of Srenmore have completely disappeared, and you look up into the now darkening area around you. You start to see the beginnings of stars up through the canopy of trees, and the sounds of nature and birds around you starting to settle in now that you've got your physical bearings again. So, I'm going to change the music because we're no longer over there. Where am I? Here we go. We'll do this one. Why not? So you are all now standing on a platform in front of a giant crate in the middle of the woods.
Is there a treehouse?
Make a perception check.
Can I tell which way is west? Towards Fort Pave?
Make either a nature or survival check.
Alright.
That was a 5, so.
5.
Or we'll also look for said.
You start to
Treehouse.
stand up and get dizzy for a moment and just kind of.
Oh,
Gore.
God.
A 7.
7.
Yeah.
You stand up and watch as you start to look around as Oldet also starts to stand up and trips over their cape for a moment, and it really distracts you as you try not to laugh at them as they almost fall face first into the ground again. Erithar?
That was the 14. nature check as he's, standing up, reaching on to whoever or whatever is closest to grab onto as he's standing up, and he's looking around and he's just thinking, where the fuck are we going? How do we just move?
You climb up Gore's arm, basically, as you stand up and get your bearings, as Gore suddenly seems to trying really hard not to laugh as you start to look around. It's pretty easy to see, since there's just the barest bit of sunlight still cresting out somewhere in the horizon to see which way you need to be going in a westward direction, though it is getting dark very quickly. I'm gonna have Oldet also make a perception check,
That's probably good.
which is cocked. I just like this dice, even though it doesn't like me. Perception. There it is. Yeah, that's a 16. That's better. As you all start to stand up, and Dodie, as you get hit with another wave of nausea, as you're like, oh dear God, Oldet finally stands up, kind of brushing themselves off as they start to look around.
I think there's a light over there. So I'm guessing that that's probably on purpose. I'm assuming we probably want to stop for the night, because I don't know about you, but I'm kind of beat.
This is also very dramatic music, I apologize.
But I would kind of rather find the treehouse than sleep on the ground.
Yeah.
They start to walk off in the direction of the light. I'm assuming you guys follow. And after a short little while, you guys start to see the light as well, as there seems to be what looks like a lantern strung up over one of the branches of a tree. And as you look up into the canopy, you can see where there is a rope ladder and what looks to be actually a full treehouse up there. It's not super big, as it's probably mostly used by halflings, but it is big enough that it probably fits all of you.
Let's use that treehouse.
Okay. You all begin to climb up this rope ladder. It does take a couple of you. I'm not going to make you roll for it because you guys have had a day so far. But it does take some of you guys a little bit longer to keep this very small rope ladder steady while you climb up the height of this tree. After several moments, all of you manage to make it up onto the balcony of this treehouse, and you can see now that it is not the size of a full house, and more the size of like a large shed. It does have 2 floors, but it seems that this main room on this base floor is just a large open cabin space. There's enough room for all of you to comfortably roll out a bed mat, but not a lot of room to do anything else, unless you move out onto the balcony, which does kind of just open up into the open air and look out over the rest of the forest. It's probably a good lookout spot, but within the walls of the cabin, though you can see the small hatch-like door that leads up into the attic, this room itself is completely empty. I believe that also might be a good place to take a break, and we'll jump back in with the night and watches and everything.
Sounds good.
Awesome. I'm going to switch it over to the break screen, and we will be back soon. There we go. Back to it. Okay. So, we pick back up with the party, having just gotten up into this treehouse owned by the mob. The sun has officially fully set by this point, once you guys get all the way up this very small rope ladder. Like I said before, there's enough room for all of you guys to roll out your bed mats with, not being crammed in there like sardines, but not enough for people to fully separate from each other. There is, however, the space out on the kind of like balcony area with the two doors that just open up into the open air outside. It's relatively cool still, and as the night goes on, it will just get colder, so it will be nice to have a little bit of shelter. But you all kind of get up into the space. Oldet immediately setting down their stuff and starting to pick through it. What are the rest of you guys doing?
Arethar's gonna start to get partially, so as not to take up the entire space, kind of partially rolls out his bedroll and sits down on it and pulls out his notebook and looks at the others. I want to record today's events so I can stay up first if we're doing watches.
I'll sit up with you.
Saphael has kind of set his stuff down, and he folds up his cloak really nice so it creates like a little bed mat of its own, and he kind of pushes it together, and then he takes Steve the potion grub off of his shoulder, and then just kind of basically suction cups him to the wall over his bed mat. I'm going to go to bed. He just faces the corner and lays down.
What a weird little dude.
I think Gore starts getting his bed stuff ready.
Okay.
And he just lays down. He doesn't really say anything.
Okay.
Then gonna go sit on the balcony.
All right. Oldet gets their things together, unrolls their bed mat, kind of off in the corner, closest to Gore probably, looks around, and also pulls out a journal similar to Arethar and writes a couple things down before they start to go to bed.
Gore also journals.
Makes sense.
Arethar will probably also sit out on the balcony, since there is a balcony
Okay.
during the watch.
You guys find a place to sit down out there, kind of looking through the small bars. The railing is slightly lower than you expect it to be, so it's pretty easy to look over, in all honesty. But you guys sit down, hearing your party start to settle and eventually fall asleep as the night gets darker and colder around you. So...
Make a perception check.
okay.
Yeah.
Just that. No. Okay.
16.
16? Alright.
18.
18. Okay. You can see as you both look out for a moment and settle in, leaning against the kind of wood log exterior on this balcony, that you've definitely moved to a different part of the continent again. You guys have traveled so much recently, it feels like you see a different setting each day, almost. Moving out of the city is definitely refreshing in some ways, though you had almost gotten used to the complete chaos that Srenmore was. It is nice now to have the peace and quiet of the forest around you. The trees here are more mixed than they were in the fjords or in the south, now kind of creating this dense, tall forest. Nothing really stands out to you as particularly interesting in the landscape, but the little bits of green that have survived into the winter are nice, and you can hear the dried leaves kind of scrape against each other on some of the more cold weather affected foliage. But currently, as you sit and kind of stare out into the darkness around you, it's just quiet. Somewhere off in the distance you can hear an owl, and at one point you see a squirrel lay down on a branch a couple feet away from you and then startle awake and then just start to eat something. But other than that, nothing really stands out.
Dodie kind of holds her limbs close, and she's going to give Erithar space while he journals. So she pulls out her dream journal, kind of taking note of how long it's been since there was an entry, and just kind of haphazardly doodle in it, just to have something to do.
Yeah. You just kind of draw some shapes, draw some flowers in the corner. You draw one of the worms from the worm shop at a certain point.
Absolutely.
Just kind of...
like really shading that lipstick in.
Yeah, just really giving the detail, the main focus in this worm.
Yeah, absolutely.
You haven't doodled in a while. It's kind of fun.
Speaking of doodling, there is a very serious, scientific sketch of the doppelganger happening in Erithar's journal. He lays it out at one point and goes into his bag to grab a flat surface of some kind to make a straight line.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not detailed or anything, but it's definitely it's the full figure of it. And there are arrows pointing to it and such before he picks it back up and kind of thumbs through the journal in its entirety for a moment before closing it and putting it back in his bag and just sitting there and for once relaxing a bit, looking out into the woods where there is no chaos for now.
It is definitely refreshing for you in particular to be out of that city. Though the cover and the ease of acquiring essentials was nice, the everything else about it was just so much. It is nice to sit in the cold open air and just breathe for a moment.
Do you have any semblance of an idea of how we managed to stand 5 days worth of walking into 10 minutes? I don't really understand how that tunnel worked.
Well, there's probably some sort of arcane method to it. They didn't use a teleportation circle. There was no... Something was probably enchanted. Since it's the mob, I just don't think to ask questions at this point. I'm never going to see them again, so...
I don't think asking questions is the right move of them. I do, however... just... I don't know. Needed to at least vocalize how strange it was.
There's no doubt about it that it was very strange. I'm sure your friend could answer some of those questions for you. Do it just for shits and giggles. Can I make an Arcana check or an intelligence check to maybe see how maybe they would have been able to do that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Ooh. 21.
Though you are not entirely sure of the magic it takes to do so, something about it does kind of remind you strangely of when you were in ZM and you talked to the paladins, and she mentioned that one box that could transport an object between one box and a different box, and they could maybe fit a person into it, but it was pretty small. Given the size of the crates and their identical nature, though you have absolutely no fucking clue what type of enchantment or magic that would take, you're assuming that they basically just took those boxes and made them giant somehow.
The paladin that we met in Zeum mentioned a arcane method of transportation through boxes. I'm sure this was probably
Yeah.
along those lines, now that I'm thinking about it. But other than that,
Yeah. That makes sense. Huh. Cool.
it's a bit rough around the edges, but it was definitely more efficient than traveling across the continent.
Yeah. What do you think of this Oldet character?
Well, we've gotten more information in the past 24 hours than we've gotten in about a month regarding the Capuchon and where it's going to go. I don't. Mr. Gore knows them and seems to trust them. So I will go with that for now. But I don't inherently really trust anybody I immediately meet, so. But if they say that the artifact is going home, and they're a person of Periork, then they would probably know what's best for it. As would Gore, presumably.
Thank you. That's what I was thinking, but I wanted to make sure you're smarter than I am, so I
Oh, I'm
needed.
smarter than a lot of people, I think, but, that's in a certain avenue. I wouldn't say overall it's I wouldn't say I'm smarter as an umbrella term. I'm just.
You're more informed on this particular situation. How about
Yes, that's what I would say. Because you are, I mean, we got through everything that we've been through because of you, essentially. So, that's just, it's not just me, but.
Despite all of the chaos that had ensued, did you at least enjoy any aspect of our stop in the city?
I think I did. It was inappropriate, but don't let him know I fucking said that, though, because he can't know that I had a good time. He can't know that I enjoyed myself even remotely, because it was his fault that I ended up in the situation that I was in. But it's
What was
It was
inappropriate?
it was nice to not think about everything for a moment, but it was inappropriate because it wasted time, and we need to. Now we're out of the city and we can keep moving, so we're not wasting time anymore, essentially.
Well, first of all, your secret is safe with me. And second, I don't think it's wrong to. I mean, we had to wait around for Merrick's anyway, and I think we were there. I don't think it's inappropriate or wrong to take advantage of the city's resources to let loose for a little while.
It
I
was
mean-
inappropriate for me to do so. It wasn't inappropriate for the two of you to do so. You're free to do as you like.
Why for
That's
you?
just a sentiment that I hold to myself.
What makes you so
I
special?
don't give a Just a personal. I don't. There's a lot that I have to do. So. I don't give a shit what the two of you do. You two can have fun, cut loose. I don't care. That's just more of a personal thing for myself. Also, he had seemed somewhat stressed the past couple of days, and it seemed like he really wanted to go, so... And I don't think he's really known what's been happening for the past month. He's just been...
Yeah. I thought it was really fun to watch you drunk out of your fucking mind, directing all your focus on standing up straight and remembering to breathe.
I'm glad that my humiliation amuses you so much.
We're not humiliated. It's not like anybody there is ever going to see you again.
This is true.
Also, you were not the drunkest person there.
No, Gore was probably... He was definitely more inebriated than I was.
Exactly. We don't have to talk about anything else that happened in the club ever again, right?
Huh? What do you mean?
Exactly. Thank you.
Was there some sort of... Was there some sort of great big secret thing or a huge particular embarrassment? You were acting the most normal out of everybody, I think. You went off and wanted to socialize, and I find that to be a very normal thing instead of whatever the fuck he was doing. I don't know. I think maybe he would call it dancing, but I think that
Having some kind of fit.
I'm not religious, but I think that some of the way he was moving was blasphemous. So, like I said, don't let him fucking know I said that. But
Oh.
and I didn't know how to interact, and obviously for me it's personal and it's whatever. But I think you acted the most normally. If anyone would probably side railed your night. I hope you had a lovely rest of your night, but not my business. But yeah, unless there was some great.
All I needed to hear. Thank you. Okay. So, 2-day walk.
Yes.
Are you going to be alright getting on a boat?
It's fine. I think the real question is he going to be alright getting on a boat? I think that a lot of our questions should probably concern him at this point.
Yeah. I think like 90% of my questions are directed at him.
I was planning on the road, or at least on the sea or whatever. If you want me to try to get anything out of him, I can attempt to.
I mean, that'd be lovely. I think he's more likely to talk with Aldette around, which I appreciate. But yeah, if you get anything, I'm nosy, so.
I think at this point on my part is less of the fact, because I was nosy. I was nosy for quite a long time, and I still am somewhat nosy about his circumstance, but when the things were occurring with you emotionally, you were speaking about it and moving forward, and I'm starting to understand a bit more of his quirks, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if he goes about doing more of what you did in his own way, it will be alright. Like, he needs to talk to some degree. It doesn't necessarily have to be to me or you. He could just speak to all that, but that would leave the two of us in the dark. So it should preferably be one of us. And
I don't think it's going to be me.
I really wish that when I entered this group, I did not think that I was going to be a middleman. I've never really been in that position in my entire life.
Sorry, it's shaken out that way. I didn't mean for it to happen.
Right, neither one of you are insufferable, so... He was, but now I understand him a bit more. You never really were.
Yeah.
But I hope that it can resolve itself. The two of you are you're very capable individuals, and I think if things get sorted out, I don't know.
So what do you think was going on with the worms? Because I tried to clock them as interdimensional, and I forgot where I was. It was bad.
Planar beings. I asked her when I went in there. I asked her how many planes she had been to, and she said a couple of them. So I don't know exactly what they are, but they are interplanar beings at the very least.
You accomplished everything you needed to get done there?
Yes, it was more helpful than I thought it would be.
Yeah? Anything interesting? Beyond swapping out your gems?
Some research that I was doing before I left. I'm continuing it. So they answered a few of my questions.
That's fun.
The night at this point has gotten pretty goddamn cold, but it's still pretty peaceful. You keep an eye out on things. Eventually that owl flies by, and you're like, oh shit, but then it's just an owl, so it's fine. And you kind of fall back into this just sedentary silence. While this has been happening, Gore, Welcome back, soldier.
Yeah.
As has had happened many times in your sleep, as had happened long ago in a hammock gently swayed by salted wind, and as had happened in the depths of some dark storm cloud, darkness rocks you to sleep. Gently swaying in the pitch black, you feel a different set of eyes close further. Feeling, waking with shut eyes, temperate water squeezes in around you. Swirling, rushing against your skin, tickled by bubbles for a moment longer before you feel yourself start to descend. Caught in a whirlpool, you feel your form get pulled further and further down. The water is cooling now. The pressure of this crushing water is growing as the last dregs of sleep fully drain from you. And after a longer moment still, you finally feel your feet hit sand. Your eyes open. Darkness is still around you, nearly pitch black, yet you can see just ahead. You stand again in nearly complete open water, though sand and rocks are embedded in the sea floor underneath you. The chill of the water becomes more apparent as your senses fully emerge. It is cold and empty here. You feel the water begin to press against your nostrils, and you feel all of your senses return, again feeling that breath held underneath your ribcage. It's hard to see anything here in the darkness. But staring from either side, you can barely see the crest of what looks to be rocks extending up on either side of you, as if you're standing in some deep chasm under the sea. Again, it just kind of strikes you how empty it is. You feel your breath press in your lungs again, that feeling of air wanting to escape. And you stand there. What are you doing?
So I'm just like in a chasm surrounded by rocks, right?
Yeah, it's like you're at the bottom of the ocean and you fell down a trench and you're now standing at the bottom of it. In front of you, the trench continues off into pitch black, but just barely on either side, you can see rocks. The walls next to you, I guess.
Okay. Is it pretty much just darkness looking up as well?
You look up into the water, and after about a foot in front of your vision, it just becomes pitch black, just vast, inky nothingness around you.
I think he'll kind of venture out down the chasm, like just kind of trotting forward.
Okay. You begin to walk, pushing your way through cold water and feeling your feet grind into the sand. Eventually, that air begins to burn through your esophagus and in your lungs, and those bubbles somehow leak out of your mouth. But as cold, icy salt water fills your lungs, you don't feel panic. You walk for a while, and with no concept of how long, the darkness seems encapsulating. You walk into the black nothingness, barely seeing anything in front of you, as eventually you feel the sand slope, and before you can catch yourself, you step a foot out, not onto sand, but into open water. The sand falls away, and you suddenly realize you are standing, half floating off the edge of a cliff. You look down and can see somehow the darkness become darker. Nothingness below. Lonely, isn't it? The dark. A voice echoes around you as if you hear it 2 or 3 times, ricocheting through your ears.
I guess he's gonna try and speak. Yeah, it kinda sucks down here.
Are you looking at anything?
He's just gonna kind of perceive, I guess, into the darkness.
Okay, make a
Or in-
perception check.
Into the abyss. Yeah, 15.
Okay. You look around a little bit, turning back to see where you walked from, and after about a foot or so, the little bit of rock that you can see just disappears into darkness again. You look back to where your feet are now standing on the edge of the cliff, and you look down. For a moment, you remember the flashes of black that you got when that creature attacked you. The vast nothingness that you felt, and how it's similar when you look down into this canyon, trench, chasm below you. You wait for a moment, and as if it's warbling through the water somewhere, you start to hear whispers. But you see nothing still.
Man. I think he's just gonna glance around one more time. He's gonna shrug, and he's gonna step off the ledge.
You step off the ledge and feel yourself float for a moment, stopping your body from moving and seeing how quickly you might fall. But strangely, you start to descend slightly, but more so float outward, as if suspended over the complete blackness underneath you. For a moment you hear those whispers echoing around you, and you swear somewhere there's a set of eyes on you. That feeling of a tingle up the base of your skull of being watched, and it feels familiar. Above, there is warmth, burning and roiling out of control. Below, there is chill, slowing and crushing all that yearns. Yet power exists in both.
Sorry, I have to highlight this in my notes. I think he's gonna try and glance around again. And
You can make another perception check if you want to.
yeah. He really wants to see it. Damn it. It's an 11.
Also make a wisdom check for me.
Oh, goodness. 15.
15. You glance around, eventually turning back to the way that you came. And you can almost for a moment not see where you stepped off the ledge. For a moment, it's as if you are floating with your eyes closed. You can look down and see your hands, but the second you look up, it's as if you are staring into nothingness. As if you were blinded and only saw darkness around you. It is lonely in the dark, but I exist there too. You start to move in the water more, turning back to the direction that you think maybe you were facing initially. Turning in the water, you have a hard time distinguishing which way is up, down, right, left, as if you can see and feel nothing again but the water in your lungs. And then you look across into the dark and see a speck of light in the inky void. You're not sure if it's up or down or just off across this seemingly endless expanse. But in a moment you look into the darkness and see this speck. This not quite blue, not quite green, not quite white light. And for a moment you see a flash. Burning bright light seems to scorch against your face as you see lush green foliage and stone. A building encrusted in vines, struck by a bolt of lightning before the flash fades, and you are in nothingness again. Promises. The water in your lungs starts to burn. The feeling of being able to breathe leaves, and you can feel your consciousness fight against the water that you are choking on. Are you doing anything else?
That structure was just a flash, right? It's not like in front of me.
Yeah, it's like you looked at this light ahead of you, and for a moment there was a flash of light, and in that you saw this building, and the flash dissipated, and that speck of light is still in front of you.
Got you.
But you can feel the water burning into your lungs as you begin to drown.
Yeah. I mean, I guess he's just gonna try and swim towards the speck.
Okay. I'd
That's
like
what he
you
would
to
do.
make a athletics check at disadvantage, please.
Okay. Oh. 15.
You begin to swim as hard as you can, pushing your limbs through the water as you feel the water burn and choke, as you feel claustrophobic in the darkness around you. You continue to push, and though you can't tell that you're moving, you know you are, but it starts to become infuriating. There's no visual for how far you're moving, or if you're moving at all. That light stays in the distance as you fight against everything, nothing around you towards it. Before eventually you hear the whispers of something in the water behind you, and the darkness overtakes the little bit of vision that you have, and you are rocked back into unconsciousness. Back in the waking world, Dodie and Arathar, the rest of your watch goes by completely uneventfully.
Uh-oh.
It's just cold and dark.
I think we should probably let Gore pick. I mean, obviously, he's probably going to pick Oldette, but I think that neither of us should wake them up.
Yeah, I don't believe we're acquainted with them well enough to do that. He's gonna turn and go over to Gore and kind of shake his shoulder a bit.
You reach out and touch Gore to wake him. His skin is so cold. But he does wake as you shake him. You do cough up a lungful of water.
Yeah, I figured.
And
Just.
Water splashes against the wooden floor of the treehouse. As you begin to hack up a lung, basically, Oldette does wake up. As they just...
Oh, yeah, that's what I thought was gonna happen. Oh. Can't wait for that to stop.
Hello?
Great. Hmm?
Oldette is looking between all three of you.
Great. Munkle, that can I have your spot, please? Because I don't want to sleep in the water. Thank you. You'll take watch. I'll just take your spot.
Yeah, that's fine.
They get up, grabbing their cloak and putting it on since it's cold. And then walking over, and Gory, you're kind of starting to sit up by this point as Oldette is just looking down at you.
Ugh. Yeah, we got the next watch. Yep. You two get out of here.
Okay. Do you
she
need
doesn't
help
say
getting
goddamn
up?
word.
Like, what the fuck is...
No,
okay.
I'll be alright.
Okay.
Not the first time. Not my first rodeo.
That's more concerning.
But they walk
it's
over.
okay.
They walk over to the balcony and sit down. Kind of still watching you out of the corner of their eyes. You kind of walk over. They kind of wave back at you, Dodie and Arathar, being like, it's fine, I guess. I don't know. They shrug a little bit. And sit down.
Going to sleep.
Alright.
Yep.
Of course, eyeing them until they go to sleep.
Dota's gonna try something fun, new, and exciting, which is going to bed unrestrained.
Okay. Interesting. You kind of shimmy down into your bedroll. It's very weird. Not... It's weird.
Just like lays like a mummy instead.
But eventually the two of you fall asleep. It doesn't take very long as you guys have been up for quite a while, and Dodie especially, that thing fucking...
Oh.
It harpooned you a couple times. You fall asleep very quickly.
Yeah.
After a little bit, as Gore, you can hear your party members' breathing regulate and return to what you're assuming is a sleeping sound. You do kind of look over at a certain point, and I want to stress again, you know when a dog side-eyes you?
Yeah.
That. Oldette is just...
God damn it. I was hoping this wasn't gonna come up soon. So was Gore. Gore's just gonna sit there.
Okay, so they're like definitely asleep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What the fuck?
It's crazy.
At this point, they are fully, like, full on, straight ahead, just staring at you.
You've said that happened before?
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. A few times.
Do you, like, go to sleep with a mouth of water? Like, what the fuck, what?
I wish that would make things a little less weird.
Cause, like, if it was puke, I probably also would have puked, but it would have at least made sense.
Yeah, no, it's salt water.
Huh. Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't happen to have any conclusions as to why that might be happening?
I can't say that I have ever personally coughed up salt water. I also don't really know of any of the other monks that have done so. If I were to just pull conclusions out of my ass, there would maybe be some. It kinda sounds like you maybe have an idea, though.
Of like, what's happening, or...
That it's probably connected to something that you're being a dick about and not talking about.
Maybe.
That maybe sounds like a yes.
He looks back. And he kind of reaches and cups the necklace and brings it forward and kind of shows Aldette.
You kind of reach against your chest and, as if from nothing, just kind of pull this necklace forward.
He lays it back down.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, you haven't happened to have seen that before, have you?
Was the symbol on it? I'm assuming it has to do with that.
Yeah, probably.
It kind of sounds like you also don't really know what you're talking about, except that you kind of do.
I have to ease into it because when I get into it, it's not going to go well.
I don't know what you remember. I don't know how much you paid attention to things in class.
Yeah, you know that yeah.
Because what it reminds me of are stories.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it's been 3 years? Almost 4 years? What I know and what you know are probably different at this point. At least for me, I know a lot can happen in 3 years. You're coughing up literal lungfuls of seawater? I personally don't think that's not a big deal.
I mean, it might be a big deal. I don't want it to be, though. Hold on. I have to pull something up.
Drink some water. Also, can you tell I like the color green?
Okay. Ever since I've met... Double checks again.
Absolutely.
These guys. I've been having these dreams. And like, I would say almost like all of them have taken place underwater. And the first few, I was just swimming, getting to like this underground place. And then I got there, and then something started talking to me. I may have made a promise with it, and then... yeah.
With what?
No idea.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so
But... kind of lights up his arms a little bit. Give me this.
okay,
I think.
Hold on. Hold on. You leave. Over 3 years passes. You meet up with 2 randos. And then you make a deal with something in the deep sea.
It was like a big serpent.
And this is because of...
Well, promise me power, so...
Yeah, okay. 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 You understand that the course of events doesn't make any fucking sense? Like, I just want to make sure that, like, we're on the same page with the fact that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, not your decision, but, like, the way in which it happened.
Mm-hmm. Like why? What?
The... I'm trying to be really nice. With the fact that you don't want to talk about it. And apparently you don't want it to be a big deal, but also you're making, like, promises and shit. The part that's not making sense is the fact that... When did you meet up with these people?
Like a month ago.
And before that, how long have you been, like...
Like 2 years ago, I got this thing.
So that timeline doesn't make any fucking sense.
Well, yeah, that's why this is weird.
Okay, I just want to make sure that, like, we're on the same page with that shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The dreams, very new. And they suck.
Okay.
Got cool powers, though. But they kind of suck. I'm stuck underwater. It's a whole thing.
Mm-hmm. I don't really know what to do with this.
It doesn't, like, strike a memory or anything. Maybe. I don't know. It's not, like, familiar or anything. Nothing sparking, like, ooh, I learned about this. Because I'm not the one that paid attention in class.
You know, fucking around with shit that you don't really know about, probably not the best idea.
Yeah.
Just putting that out there. I'm just throwing that
that's
out.
fair.
Just
That's
being fully honest.
That is a fair point. Mm-hmm.
The shit that it sounds like to me sounds like shit from, like, a really fucking long time ago. Like a really, really fucking long time ago. 'Cause, like, giant serpents not really around anymore. But like, I know you weren't as into it as some of the rest of us were. Lightning, being in the ocean, being from forever a fucking ago. That still kind of sounds like maybe it's tied into Periork.
It's not Periork.
I'm not saying it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying it could be tied to it. Because, like, back, when, like, the convulsion was happening, the deities kind of, like, paired up with people. Like, had allies on their side. So I'm not saying it is Periork. I'm just saying maybe. Is any of this?
Yeah, so like a friend. Like a colleague.
If you think that it's a giant serpent, if you are, like, pretty sure, then yeah, probably.
Okay. That makes things less bad. Well, me think that it's less bad. You give me a look. Could it still be bad?
You're getting dreams and it's not from a god. I'm not
He
saying
did say something.
I'm not.
Hold on.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's weird.
When I write it. He said something about, or they said something about existing in the dark. Does that ring any bells? That there's like also like below there. Hold on. Power existing both above and below. I'm not great with words. It was something like along those lines.
I'll think about it. There's a lot of information at once.
Mm-hmm. You're the first person I've told any of this. Please do not spill the beans.
Okay.
And I'm not telling those guys. Yet.
I'll think about it. There probably is something that I'm just not remembering yet.
Sorry, I'm kind of dumping all of this on you.
No, I mean, it's probably good to say something about it, because, like, if we get attacked by a giant serpent, because it trusts you, but it doesn't trust us, then, like, I kind of want to know about that. Because we are about to be
kind of fair.
on the ocean.
Mm-hmm. We also don't forget about the pirates.
And the pirates.
Yeah.
So.
Which is really why I would really not like to do this, but we're gonna do it.
And your dreams are just at the bottom of the ocean?
The latest ones have been. The other ones were kind of in, like, the middle ground.
Okay. Okay.
And then, like, I was walking in a chasm, and then all of a sudden there was an abyss in front of me.
Okay. Okay.
There were also whispers in the water, in the abyss.
Okay. Okay, I'll think about it. I mean, we did just kind of wake up, so it kind of makes sense. I'll think about it, man, cause you just haven't, like, looked into this at all either.
No, all of this has happened in the last month.
Okay, okay, I'll give you that.
And I've kind of been killing the king and all these other things.
It happens.
It wasn't me, it was them. But I was there.
You're very insistent on that.
Yes.
I'll take your word for it.
You can ask him.
I mean, I became a keeper.
Well, congrats!
Yeah. So, I guess that's my thing. You've got a serpent in your head. I'm a
Yeah.
keeper of the chaos.
Yeah. I have to say, though, I missed you. But I'm very glad that you did not come with me. Because then you'd be wrapped up in all my shit. And look at you, you're doing good for yourself. And I've got a serpent in my head. And the pirates hate me. So...
Sounds pretty difficult.
I'm stronger than ever, though, so that's what matters.
Up the ladder, I guess.
Yep.
That's a lot of shit, man.
Yeah. It's been all bottled up until you showed up. This feels so nice.
That makes sense. Yeah. As long as, like, it's not, like, physically affecting you, then I think right now we're fine.
Yeah, no.
Okay. I think I've got a book or two I might go through while we're sitting here, but that's gonna be a thinking piece.
I appreciate it. I'm gonna go train.
Okay.
He gets up and just wanders to the other side of the balcony.
Alright.
And Oldet will notice that it's still the same shit.
Yeah. Yeah, you watch as they pull out a couple different books from their bag and start to go through it. They have kind of like a backpack type thing that they've been carrying around that they start to go through. They write a couple things down in their journal. As you kind of look over, you see again, and you remember it from being young, that when they wrote things just for themselves and not for like other people, they always wrote in such a weird set of letters that like you've never met another person that's ever written that way. But they just write a couple things down and then go back to looking through their books. At a certain point, you're kind of doing your thing and they look over and then just go back to what they're doing, completely unfazed. But they're also going to make a perception check. But alright. But you start to train and do all that jazz. Dodie.
Awkward.
So, you fall asleep very quickly.
Oh god.
You're exhausted from the day. So much is happening, so much to think about, and it's not about you. And you're just kind of soaking in everything. And it's just easy to fall asleep. And you do. You fall asleep, and it's a deep, peaceful sleep. And slowly, Dodie's eyes begin to open in that deep, hidden space. Inky black depths of consciousness around, only broken by ethereal silver fog. Reflections under her feet warped and fragmented. Though this waking is slow, gradual. Before she knows it, her hands are reaching through a fog, tingling, crisp and cool. The air feels thin and acrid somehow. But someone is there, too. A comfort, a familiar shape in a sea of desperate scribbles. Dodie closes her eyes again and reaches. Fingertips brush against another, two halves again in clarity. She jolts, suddenly shook by thunder so deep and treacherous that her teeth ache. She is lying on the ground, bloodied and bruised as she stands to see the sky. A figure at her back peering up into the darkness too. Soot and clouds paint the heavens in bane, colors of it too vivid to observe as the scent of broken earth swells. The sound of screaming is silenced in an instant as she hears the thunder again, though it rings from below, in a bellowing pitch not made for the lucidity of rain. Lightning was striking in silence as false thunder broke the stones beneath her feet, exposing open wounds deeper than the valleys and darker than the night. Wings are beating in the wind and her veins were spilling. Magma. The land pouring hot, sickly blood over oceans, storm clouds beckoning the steam to relent, but the air burns hot, sizzling through skin and bones like radiation. War flags. Devastation tastes bitter on her breath, yet blind eyes see her. Sees them both. Sees them all. Broken hands, chipped claws, bloodied mouths. Somewhere beyond salvation, truth freezes in wait, grown over with gnarled roots. Her vision returns like a breath of air finally filling her lungs, hands gripping those behind her. Dodie finally looks to the sky, and betrayal stares back. Everything is falling. Your eyes shut again, feeling fingertips slip from your grasp, and you float. Gently through the darkness, your mind returns to slumber, calming from the calamity you witnessed. Somewhere in the distance, there's a shadow of yourself that calms as well. Two halves in clarity again as you fall asleep. You return back to slumber, not waking suddenly in the middle of the night. As Gore and Oldette finish their watch, is there anything else, Gore, that you're wishing to do on your watch?
Probably not. He doesn't like to start conversations.
No. Nothing outside seems to catch Oldette's attention at any point. And after a while, they kind of just return to just watching out past the balcony. And eventually, somewhere in the distance, the sun begins to rise. And though it is still very cold out, you can start to see where dew should start to form on the grass and leaves around you, but instead starts to frost over slightly. Eventually, the sun somewhere is high enough that the pitch black turns to more of a lilac color in the sky, and your watch has ended, and the new day has begun. Oldette stands up at this point and kind of like stretches. They have gotten slightly taller since you last saw them, not by a lot, and they've still got their spots, and their ears are still a little bit too big for their head. But they've definitely grown some. Their hair also is longer, there's more braids, and you can see larger beads in it now. And at some point, as you're kind of passing by, you can see a couple of them have the insignia of waves on them. But they stretch at a certain point, like reaching up and hanging from the like door frame and just kind of pulling up towards it and stretching. You can hear their shoulders like pop a little bit as they set back down.
I'm gonna let you wake them up, because I don't know.
Oh yeah, I got it.
Okay.
I can only imagine what's about to happen when he goes over. Whoever would be closer to the balcony, he would wake up first.
Probably Aerithar.
Okay. He's gonna go to Aerithar and kind of crouch down and nudge his shoulder a little bit. Good morning. He's gonna get up and go over to Dodie and kind of nudge her shoulder a little bit after crouching. Morning. And he gets up. And he, you know what? He will go over to Sapphire and does the same. Nudges Sapphire.
He does kind of startle a little bit as he rolls over and stares up at you.
Morning, Grub Man.
Looks up at the wall to make sure his grub is still there. It is.
Then he goes to collect his things.
She scrambles to find her journal and starts scribbling furiously.
Sapphire is sitting up at this point and then just crawls over to you. Yes?
Oh, you had it too! Oh, wow! Okay, that's really interesting. Okay, good to know.
I felt like maybe you were there.
I also thought you were there. Write it down. Write down what you remember.
Okay.
Here, she tears the page out. Hands him a pen.
He starts scribbling furiously. His handwriting, atrocious. I need you to know that.
That makes sense.
As he starts to just furiously scribble down everything. Aerithar, Gore, you have noticed them like huddling and talking and scribbling by this point.
She kind of finishes. She looks up at Gore and makes eye contact. Did I move at all?
Not gonna lie, I was not very observant. But I did not hear you move.
I feel like you would have heard. Cool. All right. Write that down.
Finishes like scribbling out like the bullet points of what he remembers, and hands it to you.
She starts comparing the two stories.
Nearly exactly the same. The way he wrote it down is a little bit different. He seemed to see the exact same things at you, but the way he describes it is as if he's looking at it from a different direction.
Fascinating.
He doesn't write down a lot of detail because he
Oh.
seems to be just frantic about it. You've had more practice at writing down literally everything that you remember, but
Yeah.
it seems to nearly be exactly the same.
Neat. Okay. Okay. Are you alright?
Me?
Because, like, that was not nearly as bad as they usually are. But, like, I'm sure that was a little bit jarring.
Oh, well, my dreams were very weird before, and nothing like that.
Right.
My
Good to
dreams
know.
were mostly falling into an abyss.
I mean, that's not too far off.
Yeah, it was mostly falling into nothingness, being skewered on shards of mirrors. The Shadowfell exploding.
No good.
Lots of that.
Fascinating. Lots of plummeting to my death. Lots, like, plane breaking beneath me. Lots of, mostly just falling to my death.
Yeah. Lots of that.
Great.
Lots of also falling that never stopped and then descending into
Yeah.
madness.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
For me, lots of terrible sounds and screaming, and my eardrums rupturing.
Yeah, that's a little bit more new for me.
So that was very weird, but not as bad.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad to. I mean, I'm not glad to hear that you're accustomed to something worse, but I'm glad it wasn't too agonizing.
Yeah,
Cool.
this felt like there was more of like a beginning, a middle, and an end instead of just suddenly
Yeah.
waking up and falling to my death.
Exactly. You got it. All right. I've never gone back to sleep before. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Cool. All right, let's get the show on.
starts to look around at everybody else who's packing up their things.
I think while they're having that conversation, Gore kind of scooches over to Oldet. Yeah, they also have dreams, and then goes back to collecting his things.
Oldet gets their things together, and as everybody else is kind of doing their thing, kind of, I guess, like, without really even thinking about it, they walk over to the balcony, grab onto it, and, like, flip over it so that they're, like, hanging from the balcony, and just slowly lower themselves down, and it looks like they're just stretching.
Monk shit.
Yeah.
Aerithor's gonna leave the treehouse, probably following Gore.
You slowly make your way down the rickety rope ladder and eventually make your way to the forest floor. Everybody gets their things together and makes their way out.
Can you put the text of that into the dream doc?
Yes, I can. It will take me
Thank
a moment because I don't want to do it on that way. Hello, laptop. Will you be normal for me?
No.
I'm gonna let it load for a second. Oh, no, I did it. Come back. Stop it. What are you doing? Come on. Come on. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, beep. Beep, beep, beep. There you go.
Thank
Okay.
you, Cheese.
E. So, I don't have a ton left planned after this if we want to maybe travel a little bit further. Unless you guys want to cut it short and have a short session tonight.
I mean, I'm okay with that. I mean, we should wait for Gale to come back.
Yeah.
That's fine with me.
Is it do you think it's enough travel? If we only did a travel session, it would take up a whole session?
Well, you guys have got like a full like day's worth of travel, and then a night, and then a day's worth of travel. Depending on how the travel goes, you might have to spend the night on the road again. The travel will probably take up most of a session, if not all of a session. Probably most of a session, because I'm gonna kind of hurry you guys through it. Because you're not.
I think
at a
that sounds good.
very interesting point. Gail, we're discussing if we want to go a little bit further, or if we just want to call it there and have a shorter session today.
What's everybody said so far?
Travel will take up most of the next session, so it kind of makes sense to pick up with that next time.
Yeah, I think so. I think we just pick up next Saturday.
Because I feel
Travel
like that's
session.
a really nice stopping point, and that way we're not stopping in the middle of a day, you know?
Sounds good.
We're also at like
Yeah.
basically exactly 4 hours, so I feel like that's a nice...
It never happens.
Yeah. So, well, good job, everyone. I feel like there were some nice character moments that happened. I feel like we've got a couple stickers to do, maybe. But we'll do those once I turn the stream off. Nice little intro session to travel, yes?
Yeah.
And you guys got
Yeah.
to fall through a mob box.
We got gore lore.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to
More
add
gore lore
songs
in
onto the
less
Old
than-
Bet playlist after this.
More
No,
gore
I've
lore
Bone
in
to
30
pick with you.
in less than 30 minutes than 20 sessions.
Just so much
that
packed in
difficult.
there.
Put him under a microscope. I'm obsessed with him. Seriously.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the stream so we can do stickers, because I'm also hungry. But
Yes.
thank you to everyone that was watching. I think we got a new follower at some point during that, so thank you if that person is still here or not. But we will be back next week, I'm assuming?
Mhm.
Yep. Bye!